Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Market Wrap. So I am still in Philly, didn't make it home this weekend as we had a big project at work, but I made sure I worked all weekend. I was done 4 o'clock Sunday to watch my Giants, who looked absolutely mediocre. It could be a long season and we're right back at it Thursday night in Washington. So 3 watches I love this week, and again, we had a great selection to choose from. And the first one is a Rolex, and one of the most underappreciated Rolexes, the Yacht-Master II in 18 karat gold. Now this is a big gold piece, which I love, heavy, which I love, and if you compare it to some of the other gold pieces, the Sky Dweller, the Day-Date 40s, it seems like a bargain in this crazy market. Now the second piece is an Lange Sohne, as you all know, my favorite brand, and it's from the Lumen collection, and it's the Lange Sohne Lumen moon phase. It's a see-through dial, glows incredibly at night. It's a limited edition of 200 pieces, just an amazing watch. And the last piece is the only one that could make me forget about that Lange Sohne Lumen, and this is the Datograph Lumen. It's one of my favorite things about watch boxes. You never know what's gonna come in week over week, and to have 2 Lumens come in the same week is totally crazy. Now I believe the Lumen collection is going to get even stronger, as rumor is Lange is gonna be introducing a new Lumen late in October, which should drive interest in the whole series. So I saw a very interesting post yesterday on Instagram, and it was really a little startling. Now, we've been talking for the last few weeks about the strength of the market and how I believe it's demand-driven. And yesterday, Gronefeld posted on Instagram that the brand is fully booked. Now, wait, what? Yes, they've sold their entire production for the foreseeable future and are no longer taking any orders. Now they've expanded the brand over the last year or two, introduced new models, but they've created such high demand that it cannot be filled. It's really a moment in the business for independence, as the brand is only from 2008, and over the past few years, people have just become familiar with the horological brothers. And they've done a great job creating a connection with the collectors. They have a great following on social media, which has certainly helped the notoriety, but most importantly, they build fantastic watches. Now, what I found most interesting was they apologized to their collectors and encouraged them to look to other independents in the meantime. I thought it was incredibly classy. I couldn't be happier for these guys. It did make me think on how it'll affect the market, though, going forward. So obviously, for the short term, I assume the secondary market for Gronefeld will spike, as new goods are no longer an option. In the long term, I believe this could be a model for other independents who can connect directly with their collectors. I think we also might see another nail in the coffin for small independent retailers, as brands can go direct to the consumer, sell direct, maintaining the margin in-house, and becoming a much more financially secure business model. So as Watchbox has been expanding overseas, we've had the opportunity to dip a toe in the market in China. Now, many of us have a very limited understanding of the market over there, but we were lucky enough to have one of our old interns move back to China and is again working for Watchbox, promoting the brand in the market. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to check in with our friend Leo and see what's going on in the market in China. Hey Leo, it's great to see you, and thanks for joining us this week on Market Wrap.
Hi, Manjos. Always my pleasure. It's my first time up here on your show.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen you, but let's dive right into it. So now that we've got you on the ground in China, we just had a few questions that I thought would be fun for our viewers to hear your opinion on. Traditionally, the Chinese market only wanted new goods, and that was always kind of what we thought of here in the States, was they only bought new. Are you seeing them adopt pre-owned more?
Yes, as you said, it's a historical perspective. Right now, a lot of Chinese buyers, they really start to adopt secondary market goods, especially for some really good ones, for 2 reasons. First, accessibilities, like hot models of Rolex, you'll never get for brand new. And the second is the better price. For example, not offense to any brands, a Breguet 7057, which I personally own one, and that watch will be sold at around $75,000 at boutique, at retail. But in secondary market, you can get it for 50% off. So that's a really good or easy call to make. And especially for some younger buyers or some newbie collectors, when they dive into this market, obviously they're gonna go to social media places, marketplaces. They're gonna go for their watch hunting from there, and they can start to compare different prices, different information. So at the very end of it, a big chunk of that. Collectors, they will start their watch collecting from secondary market right off. So it's a really good sign for Watchbox to observe, and I believe that will be the market trend in the future.
I love it. Now, traditionally, the Chinese buyers were huge Patek collectors. You mentioned Rolex, always big Rolex collectors. What other brands are you seeing them go into today?
To answer your question, I feel like I really have to break down the market a little bit. For the very, very entry level market, that will be Longines, just like in the US. That will be the first choice, or almost the only choice for a lot of like new graduates from college when they just got into the society. That will be the first, little gift from their family, or that will be the first watch they spend after they make their first bucket of the gold. And to move up a little bit, I will say, that's Omega. Omega really dominating that, segment of the market. And if you go up a little bit more, then we are really at the Rolex price range. And surprisingly, I will give you a name that you might never think of. That will be Blancpain. Blancpain is doing extremely good in Chinese market, especially recently. They released the Green Dial 50 Phantoms. For those watches, not only you cannot order those because those are limited editions, but on the secondary market, those watches are right now on the double retail market value, and they are still in really, really high demand. And I think that has a lot to do with the education from the brands, because on the Chinese watch forum, Blancpain is spending a lot of time or money or people on that forum. And what they got out from that is that a lot of Blancpain owners would write articles, do the open box videos, basically saying a bunch of good things about Blancpain. And Blancpain is basically a really nice phenomenon or a result of what good marketing will bring to you. And if you go up further, I would say Avijon will be the unicorn of the independent brands, as we always talk about Avijon in this show. So
yes, we do.
That's just my opinion on that one.
I love it. Now, it's interesting you brought up social media, because I'm always wondering, obviously, the social media is huge here in the States. How do you communicate with the collectors there? What types of things? Obviously, we're doing Facebook and Instagram all the time. How do you connect with all the clients over there?
So, as you said, social media is a big thing in the US, and consider the Chinese population at the moment is at 1.5 billion. So it's got to be big for social media. And that's actually my primary access of me, how to get to the collectors and how I stay connected with them. And obviously in China, we don't really have Facebook, we don't really have Instagram, we don't have YouTube, but we do have the alternative options like Bilibili among, like Weibo among, like WeChat among. So those are the primary tools of me staying connected with my clients or some, just watch enthusiasts who want to talk about watches. We always have a good fun out there. And social media really, has a really big impact on the watch market for sure, especially for some younger ones. Because in China, what I'm observing is that a lot of, younger generations, they really got into the watch really early. People who in their 20s, people who in their 30s, they would just pick up the watch collection right away. And social media is pretty much the only place they can gather some really useful information, like pricing, like model pictures, like, a lot of like details of the watches. So social media is critical in today's watch game.
Terrific. Well, this has been great fun. I really enjoyed having you on the show. Hopefully we're going to do this again down the road, because I think it's a really interesting market, to get your perspective on, and it's great to have somebody on the ground there.
Yep, for sure. Always my pleasure.
So that was this week's Market Wrap. Look forward to seeing you all again next week.